us a whole lot in the protection of our civil liberties, and we just got rid of the war on drugs. The war on drugs has been much more dangerous than the drugs themselves. But the wonderful thing is there's an answer for this, and the answer is found in understanding liberty. Liberty comes out from us, to us, not from our government, but it comes to us in a natural way, in a God-given way from our Creator, which means that we ought to own our lives. We have a right to our life. We have a right to our liberties, and we ought to have a right to keep all the fruits of our labor. But if this is the case, we should be able to bring people together. It shouldn't be just conservatives that should agree on one issue and just liberals on another issue. But the whole idea of liberty should bring us together. Because we don't want to tell other people how they personally use their liberty or how they spend their money. So why shouldn't all of us come together for different reasons? We do this in religion. We come together on religious freedom, not because we agree on the religion, and besides, if we legalize freedom of choice in religion, not once do they accuse us of saying that we endorse that particular religion. But as soon as it comes to personal habits and social habits, all of a sudden you say, oh, they might do A, B, C, and I don't like that, and I don't want to endorse it. You're not endorsing it. What you're endorsing is freedom of choice and letting people do. But the most important thing there is that if you have freedom of choice, which we will strive for, if we have freedom of choice to deal with our own lives, means that we have to accept responsibility of the consequences of all our choices. So if we don't do well, we can't go to our neighbor and say to our neighbor, well, I didn't do well, so I want you to take care of me. And it's also illegal in a free society to go to the government and say, I want to send the government to my neighbor to take from my neighbor what I want from him to take care of me. The best rule to follow is the Bastiat rule. They said, the Bastiat rule is if you and I can't do it, like we can't counterfeit money, the government shouldn't be able to do it either. A lot of people don't accept liberty because they're frightened about it, intimidated, they don't understand it, they have been told for years that the free market doesn't work, that the Depression came because of free market capitalism and the gold standard, and that's been ingrained in our system. It's been taught for generations now, except in the last decade, especially the last 5 years. Guess what? The information is getting out. The truth is getting out, and thank goodness for the internet. But you know, we had a victory of sorts a couple of months ago when SOPA and SIPA were about to be passed, and many of you wrote and said no, 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 and they withdrew it from the House floor and the Senate floor. But this very week, they're going to be bringing up another one. It's every bit as bad. It may be worse. It's seductive, and it has to be defeated as well. Mike Rogers has that bill, and if you haven't told your representative about it, let them know that you don't need that bill. We don't want the bill. It's an attack on the internet, all because they want to protect privacy, of course. So we have to do whatever we can to protect the privacy and the integrity of the internet, because this is the way the information is spread. But we know that there are so many more people today that know about what's going on, and they are seeking the truth. And this is what life should always be about, is seeking the truth and trying to find out what really is happening. And governments resist this. Governments don't want you to know the truth. The governments have this tendency of turning things upside down. Our government was strongly said that the Fourth Amendment was written to protect your privacy. And that if you have a free society, that you should have open government. Now we have totally secret government, and you have no privacy left. We need to reverse that. We had a grand experiment, the best in the history of the world, and we drifted away from it 100 years ago. All of a sudden, for some reason, they started dividing freedom up into two pieces, economic freedom and social freedom. and that isn't the case. It has to be one and the same. If it's your life, it's your lifestyle, and it's your money, and it should be one thing, and that is the protection of liberty with limitation of government. So we don't have to go back to the Dark Ages. They accuse us, oh, you're going back to the Dark Ages in the 19th century. Well, some good things were started in there, but we want to improve on it. We want to build on it. It was a short test, and freedom is a new idea in the history of time. Guess where the Dark Ages are? What is going back are the tyrants in Washington that want us to go back to dictatorship, and that is what we won't put up with. So we can renew this. We can renew this spirit, and that is what's happening, and that is why we should be so encouraged about the way things are going. Literally hundreds, if not thousands of people now, millions of people are joining us. We don't know exactly what will come out of the election. All I do know is every election should be run very seriously. Sometimes I'm challenged and they said, oh, how can you run for this election? You know you don't have a chance. I said, how do you know that? So when you run to win. It's very important. I've won elections on 12 times, and that sort of puts a stamp of approval on what we're doing. So we don't know exactly what the outcome is, but we do know that the continuation of the spirit of liberty will persist no matter what, and that's what really counts as well. So it's hard to say about how the time will be and when things will happen and when it could get worse. But it is going to get worse if we don't change things. We cannot continue to run up deficits of $1.5 trillion a year and print the money and try to tell people around the world there's so much resentment against us that we'll have to face up to it. And we will be facing up to it when there's a bankruptcy crisis, which means the rejection of the dollar. We can't keep printing dollars and expect the world to take care of us by taking our money. And this will come, and then interest rates will rise, and there'll be higher prices, and we will have no more people believing anymore what the government tells us. Oh, there's no inflation, everything is just fine and dandy, and there's full employment when the employment rate is very closer to 20%. No, the time will come. It could come in a month or two, or a year or two or three, but we are prepared. Our numbers are growing. We know what the message is. We're getting more and more people in places. There are state party operations throughout the country. The news this past week in our campaign on delegate counts has been fantastic. And you know, one of the litmus tests of when a campaign starts to fade, two things happen. One, the money dries up, and the other, nobody shows up. But I tell you what, we're still getting a lot of people showing up. Even and guess what? The money bombs are still working. So that is a vote of approval and no reason why we're going to be walking away. And this will continue. So once again, I want to really thank you for coming out. You're a real inspiration. For obtaining peace and prosperity, and that is what I sincerely believe. In a personal way, I think of what a free society is all about is ownership of our own lives and responsibility for ourselves. For me, I would suggest that it is a worthy cause, and that is to seek excellence and virtue. Governments can't do that for us, and if you think that's a worthwhile venture in life, this can only be done in a free society. So seeking virtue and excellence and seeking a society that offers peace and prosperity We have logic on our side, and we also have the humanitarian instinct on our sides, because they tell us too often that we don't care about the poor. If you care about the poor, and you care about prosperity, and you care about peace, the only way you can achieve that is through free markets and sound money and individual liberty. So continue our efforts. This campaign has a few months left to it. It's not going to end like some people pretend. You know, the media says, "Where's Ron Paul gone? Where's Ron Paul gone? Where's his campaign?" Where's the media been? So anyway, spread the message, be optimistic, and have fun doing it. Thanks a lot.